Hi everyone, it's Lisa Mears. I wanted to pop in here really quick and share with you some exciting news. I am going to be teaching at the first ever SBC Fest. What is SBC Fest? Well, that is the scrapbook.com Fest, which is a virtual 2-day crafting event happening on September 16th and September 17th. It is a virtual event. It's free and it's happening on scrapbook.com's YouTube channel. There are going to be lots of crafters teaching classes during those 2 days. And I was so honored when scrapbook.com asked me to be one of the instructors because there are some big name crafters that are teaching at the event. If you haven't seen all of the crafters, I'm going to pop here on the screen a picture that shows all of the crafters teaching at the event. So you can see Simon Hurley's going to be there, Allie Edwards, Vicki Booten, and more. So I will have a link down in the description box of this YouTube video that will take you to scrapbook.com's website where you can find much more information about this 2-day event. I do want to mention that this is a craft along with me type of event. So the classes are pre-recorded. However, you can craft along with the crafter during the class. So if you want to craft along with the crafters during the classes, you can purchase the supplies ahead of time. And there are lists of supplies on the scrapbook.com website for all of the classes being offered. So the link down in the description box of this YouTube video will take you directly to the supply list on scrapbook.com's website. So you'll be able to see my supply list as well as all of the crafters teaching during the SBC Fest. Now, the nice thing about crafting along or watching along during the live presentation is that the crafter will also be in the live chat. So if you have any questions regarding what's going on in the class, or if you just want to pop in and say hi, you can ask a question or say hi in the live chat. So I will be there live in the chat during the time that my presentation is being shown. Now, I don't know exactly what time or what schedule all of the crafters will be presenting. However, I'm sure that that information will come out soon. And as soon as I have that, I will share it with all of you. So be sure you're following me on Facebook or Instagram at Lisa Mears Designs, because I will make sure that I post that information to those sites. And if you follow the community tab on YouTube, I will also post it there as well. So I'm going to be making shaker cards in my class, and I'll be making 3 shaker cards. Those of you that have been following me for a while, you guys know that I love to make shaker cards. So that's what I plan on doing during my class at the SBC Fest. So at the end of this video, I am going to go through all of the supplies that I'm going to be using in my class. That way you can be sure to compare it with the supplies you have at home and see what you have, or maybe you have something you can substitute for something that I'm using in the class. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the supplies now, and I hope that you join me at SBC Fest September 16th and 17th. So if you have any questions regarding SBC Fest, you can also post your questions down in the comments of this video, and I can comment back with an answer. So let's go ahead and take a look at my supplies.
All right, so I want to start out with the paper that I'm going to be using for my cards. I have some of the scrapbook.com pattern paper. These are brand new to scrapbook.com. I'm using the Sherbet pattern paper collection. And I'm also going to be using the matching cardstock. So this is just solid cardstock in the matching colors. And then I'm also going to be bringing in the rainbow pattern paper pad. And here's just a flip through of that, as well as the matching solid cardstock. Now, if you have any other pattern paper that you want to use, by all means, you can use what you have in your stash, but this is what I am going to be using on my cards. I'm also going to be using the Nina Solar White cardstock. I'll be using this for some card bases as well as for some stenciling. And since I am making shaker cards, we need some acetate. So this is the acetate that I use. It's a 12 by 12 acetate paper pad, and it is from American Crafts. If you have any other acetate in your stash, you can use that. Now let's take a look at the dies that I will be using. I will be using nesting dies in my video. Nesting dies are always great to use when making shaker cards. So I have a set of the Spellbinders Precision Layering dies. These come in a set of 16 rectangular shaped nesting dies, and any rectangular nesting dies will do. In fact, if you have any other shaped nesting dies, you can pull those out and use them as well. I'll also be bringing in these circle nesting dies from scrapbook.com. So any of the circle shapes will do. I know these are a staple in many of our craft rooms, so I'm sure a lot of you already have some of these products. I'm also going to be using the nested flower dies from scrapbook.com. So there are several different flower shapes in this nesting die set. And I will be using the scrapbook.com nested decorative circles. So these are circle frames. They actually cut out the center and they have a decorative edge on them, and I will be using one of the dies in this set. I will also be using the Sunny Studio Stamps Spring Greenery. I'm going to be using these two leaf dies that are in this set. So if you have any leaf dies, you can use what you have in your stash. And I will also be bringing in the Sunny Studio Stamps Slimline Nature Border die set. I will be using the grass border in this set. So if you have any dies that happen to be border dies to make hills or grass, you can use what you have in your stash. But this set comes with 4 different borders for hills, waves, grass, and I will be using the grass one. Okay, so let's look at the stamps and stencils. So for the stamps, I will be using the scrapbook.com Cheerful Sentiments stamp set. I love this stamp set because there are so many different ways to put together various sentiments from holidays to birthday, and I will be using the Happy Birthday stamp from this set. So if you have any stamp sets, which I'm sure you do, that say Happy Birthday or whatever sentiment you want to use, it doesn't even need to be a birthday stamp. That's just what I chose to use for my card. I will also be using the Pink and Mane Be a Mermaid stamp set. I love the mermaids on this set. I think they're so pretty, especially when colored up. And I will be making 2 cards using this stamp set, and there are matching dies to go along with the stamps. I also want to mention that I will not be coloring my stamps in the class, so I do encourage you, if you're crafting along with me, to stamp out the images and color them, die cut them out, and have them ready to go. I will include a list of colors that I used down in the description box below. The stencil that I'm using is the scrapbook.com Scallop Stencil. I will be doing some ink blending with this stencil. And the inks that I will be using are as follows. So I have some Distress Oxide inks. The 4 that you see here, I have the Peacock Feathers. I am going to be using the Mermaid Lagoon, as well as the Prize Ribbon on the left and the Wilted Violet on the right. So this is the combo that I'm going to be using for my stencil. If you have any color inks that are fairly close to what you see here, that will do as well. And then I'm also bringing in the scrapbook.com Black Hybrid ink for some of the sentiment stamping. Any black ink will do, and then the scrapbook.com Olive ink and Candy Shop pink. Those inks match some of the papers where I will be inking edges of some of the papers. So again, that's just an option if you wanted to do that and follow along with me. So let's look at the adhesives. I am going to be using the scrapbook.com foam sheets, and this is what I'm going to be using for my shaker cards. It comes in a pack of several foam adhesive sheets, sticky on the front and back, as well as the Pixie Spray, which is a low-tack adhesive for my stencil. And then my glue, where I'm gluing everything together, I'm using the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. You can use any glue. And then the mint tape I'm going to be using just to tape my dies down before I die cut them. Okay, so shaker cards need sequins. So here's a look at the sequins that I'm going to be using. So in this pack of sequins, I am going to be using the Lilac Lane. It's 28 Lilac Lane and it's called Think Pink. And it is just a bunch of different pink sequins with hearts. So any sequins will do here. I just was going with pink because some of the papers I'm using are going to be pink and I was going to be matching the pink papers. I'm also going to be bringing in some purple sequins. So this actually is a set of Craft Medley cup sequins in the viola color. I've just separated them here into these little containers, and I'm also going to be using the Rhythm and Blues sequins, and those come in some teals as well as some darker blues, which you can see here. Again, I just separated some of them into different containers, but they all come in one big pack of different color blues as well as the different color purples. And I selected colors that match the color scheme from the Distress Oxide inks that I showed earlier. And then just some general tools. I have the scrapbook.com 5-inch scissors that I will be using, as well as the Pink and Main Magic Anti-Static Brush. This has powder in the bottom of the brush, and I actually use this to rub along the acetate to eliminate static. So it will eliminate the sequins from sticking to the acetate. And this is very useful for making shaker cards. If you don't have a tool like this, you can always use just some powder that you might have at home. I'm also going to be using the Sizzix stencil and stamp tool. I will be using it to hold my stencil in place while I ink it up, and I will also be using it for stamping. So if you have any other tools that you use for stenciling or stamping, you can use what you have. And last but not least, I will be using the ink blending tools from scrapbook.com. So once again, I will have a link to my supply list down in the description box below. So if you click on that link, you will also be taken to the website where you can see a supply list for all of the crafters at SBC Fest. So if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I look forward to chatting with everyone during the SBC Fest on September 16th and 17th. Have a great day. Bye-bye.